Okay guys, first video is done, and so now we're going to get into actually making the logic for the targets themselves, so they drop when they get hit, they move left and right, up and down, whatever. So I think the very first thing we need to do is set up our character a little bit better. That's notes, here we go. So I'm gonna go back to my first person character really quick, and inside of here we're just going to make a new custom event, and we'll just call this add score. Very simple event, and we want to pass through an integer of what the actual score is that we're adding. Then we'll take our variable here and we are going to add, I'm just going to hold control and move this to the bottom. We'll add whatever comes in. Then we can set our score. Every time we hit a target, we'll call this event and it'll set our score and it'll just go up. And since we already did the HUD, we'll see that change. So now, since that's done, comment that. We'll just add score to player. And I can't spell player. There we go. All right. So now that that's done, we can jump into making our actual target blueprint. So in our blueprints folder, I'm going to right click, make a new blueprint of type actor, and I'm going to call this VP target, open it up, and we're going to add a static mesh. That will be our SM target. Okay. And then we're going to just duplicate this, and I'm going to name this, so actually the very first one here without the number on it, I'm just going to hit F2. We're going to call this the outer ring, and then we're going to make this a child of that by dragging it on top and say drop here to attach static mesh 1 to outer ring, and you'll notice that now that is a child of it. And so with this one, I'm going to call this one middle ring, I guess, or inner ring, whatever you guys want to call it. I'll show you what it is here in a second. So I'm just going to pull this slightly out. I am going to turn off my grid snapping, and then I'm going to just scale this down on the Z and the Y, raise it up, move it in, go, get a little bit bigger. Let's turn off our scale snapping there. Now let's go ahead and grab, I think we said we're going to do our MI blue we made before. That can be this section. Let's make sure it's not sticking out the back at all. It's not. And then so we can just duplicate that. This can be the inner ring. And again, same thing. We're just going to raise it up a little bit, scale it in, out. This one I think will make it be green, green. And one last time, just duplicate that, Control D. This will be our bullseye. Bullseye. I have no idea how to spell that, but we'll just go with that. I'm gonna make it the MI underscore red. Grab that, raise it up a little bit, scale it into about how big we want bullseye to be, and there is our target. Now the reason that we're making this different meshes in here is so that we can use them as hit zones, if that makes sense. And what I mean by that is, we'll start with the bullseye. I'll right click on bullseye and we'll say on component hit. So whenever this component gets hit, we want to find out what the other actor was, and we can just, I think for our purposes, we'll cast it. We'll cast it to the projectile. So cast to first person projectile. So we're going to verify whatever hit it, is that the first person projectile. If it is, it'll come through this, execute. If it's not, it'll go through the failed. And so whenever we hit it, we want to add like a score or something, and I even want to add a multiplier to it. So Ah, okay. Sorry, I was looking at my notes really quick to make sure I wasn't missing anything. Um, we'll check to see if it's the projectile. I didn't do this in my notes. I just kind of checked if anything hits it. So if you want to just anything hits it and then it'll give the score, then you just remove the projectile. But I think for our purposes, we'll just go ahead and make sure that it's a projectile, that nothing else can hit it and give it a score. So then we want to get our player pawn, and then we're going to cast that to our first person character. And I know a lot of you more experienced guys are screaming, don't use casting, oh, it's going to keep it open all the time. And you're right. We're using this for just to keep it quick. You guys could make a very simple interface, and if you're wanting me to make the interface and show you guys how to make the interface really fast, let me know in the comments below, and I will make a third video to this that goes over how to switch this out to make it run off of an interface instead. But for now, we're just going to do casting just to keep it short, simple, and to the point. So we're going to go with our first person character here. We're going to pull off of this, and we're going to get that update score. And I don't think I compiled, or no, add score, sorry. Add score. I think actually update score would have been a better thing. And then we're just going to tell it how much score to add. So basically each one of these, like bullseye, all that, are going to have their own score to be able to add. So we'll just type in how much right here. Now, the big thing I would actually like to do is maybe turn this into a function. So if it's a projectile that hits, then we'll do a function, and then we're also going to be spawning our that number that floats off to show you that, like, what score you hit. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's turn this to a function. I'm just going to grab all this, hit Control X to cut it. I'm going to go over here to our functions, add a new one, and we'll call this update score. That's what we can call this one, since I like that name so much. And then we can take an input, and the input could be a type integer, and it can be score, just like how the other one was. We'll paste this in, and then we can just take that score and plug it into the score over there, and there we go. We'll also end up spawning the what do you call it, the score floating text thing right there. So let's grab that back in our event graph, and let's go ahead and plug it into our bullseye hit. And then this is where we can set up what the actual score is going to be. Now, I would actually like to add a multiplier, because let's say that this is a moving item, then maybe we want to add more score by just using a multiplier. So what we can do is make a new variable here, and just call, and can be an integer, since we're going to be using integers anyways, so it doesn't need to be a float in this case. And we can just call this multiplier, and we can make that exposed. I'm going to make it one time right now, and inside our update score, we can take our multiplier and multiply it by our score that we're adding in, and that'll get fed into the player right there. Okay, now we need to make the thing that can spawn the numbers for us, and we also need to go ahead and do this to all the other things. So we already did the bullseye, now we can do the inner ring. So right click, component hit, copy paste, plug these in. One thing I am forgetting right here is we're not saying the score, so I think I'm gonna go with like 50 points for the bullseye. Actually, let's go with like 100 points. 100 points for the bullseye, maybe 25 points for the inner ring, and let's go middle ring here. Component hit, copy paste. Maybe this one is 10 points. And then the outer ring, oops, right click, component hit. We could actually, you know what? Let's just make it to where it doesn't do anything if the outer ring is hit. I was gonna make it 0 points and just make it fall down. If you, I kind of like that actually. Now the more I'm thinking about it, so we'll just make it 0 points. So we're gonna do a begin hit on this as well. Copy paste, plug in the actor here, and then we'll we'll do 0 points. So it still falls down, and you lose kind of like your chance to knock it down again. Maybe like you have like a timed event. That's another video we could do, is adding a timed event to this. So again, in the comments below, tell me if you want a video for that. And then like, so we can have like rounds and all that good stuff. We can do a whole thing out of this if you guys want. If this gets enough likes or comments saying that you want it. Okay, so yeah, we got all of our hits. We got 100, 25, 10, 0. That looks good. And let me check my notes. Anything else I need to do? Oh, where we actually play the drop. Okay, yeah. So actually, let's just make a custom event. And we can do play target drop. Or actually, I don't know, that'll work. Target drop. And so for this, we're actually going to need a new variable. It's going to be a boolean, and I'm going to call it is down. And we're going to set that to a boolean. We're going to get it. We're going to pull off of this and say not. I had to go through the trues on everything. So if this is not down, if it's not laying flat, I don't know why I'm doing like hand gestures. You guys can't see my hands doing anything. But if it's not down, then we want to make it go down. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to use a timeline. To do timeline. Find it. There it is. Add timeline. And I'm just going to call this drop target underscore TL for timeline. And we're going to put that through the play. Out of the update, we're going to set the relative rotation of the outer ring, as that is the parent to all these other little pieces. And the rotation is going to be based off of just a straight up number. Now, in order to make it rotate back, we're going to need a starting point, basically. And the way that we're going to get that is on begin play up here. Grab that. We're just going to grab our outer ring. We're going to say get relative rotation. And then I'm going to right click and promote this to the up position is what I'm going to call it. We'll just plug that into our begin play. Straighten this out a little bit, make it prettier. There we go. You guys wonder how I'm making it to where it goes to straight. What I'm doing is I'm selecting it and pressing Q, and then it lines it up. All right, so then we're going to lerp rotator between our up position and a position that we like for it to fall down. So what we can do to find that is we can just put it into the world really fast. Oh, you know what? Let's make this to where it's facing us automatically. So what we can do is we will just take all these one by one and put them through the back a little bit. There we go. Grab the bullseye, pull it through. There we go. And so now let me grab the outer ring. I'll actually do it in here instead of in the world. And we can just grab this and rotate it. And we want it to rotate to about -70. Looks good. Okay. So we'll rotate it. That was on the Y. Okay. So -70. And then we need to plug in something for alpha, so we need to do our timeline a little bit. So with our timeline selected, we're going to double click on it, set the length to 1, add a float track, call this the alpha or the time or whatever you want to call it. Right click and add a keyframe, set the time on that to 0, the value on that to 0, and then I'm going to right click, add another one, the time on that to 1, and the value on that to 1. Now if you feel that this is moving too fast, your drop and raise, then you can actually you can pull your drop target TL into the thing, which is a reference to this guy, and you can actually set the play rate 1 being normal speed, anything below that being faster. So like 1 is like 100% of its speed. Actually, that's not right. 1 is normal speed. Anything smaller would be like so if you did 0.25 would be, it would take a quarter of the time that it takes right now. And if you put 2 in there, then it'll take double the time, and so on and so forth. Right. All right. And then you can just plug that in right about there if that's what you want to do. I'm just going to leave it be. I think it'll be fine. All right, we're going to take our alpha, plug that into our alpha. And that actually should be good on that part. So now we'll just, let's see, look notes. Oh yeah, we need to reset the target. That makes sense. All right. So what we can do is we can grab a branch and we can ask, oh, that's actually something I missed real quick. So whenever we're going through here, and it's like, if it's not down, sorry, we're gonna go through true, and then we're gonna say, hey, it's down, because it's about to be. I guess you could do that off of the finish, but I think it'd be better through here. We'll just say is down, and then we're going to make a new custom event, and this will be raise target, or play raise target, or however you want to. I'm gonna put that into the reverse. Now we're only going to do that. So let's go ahead and just do like this. We'll do a branch, then we go into reverse, and we'll grab our is down, plug that in, and then we're going to take our set here, copy paste, put that into the true, put that into the reverse, and we're going to say it's no longer down, because remember, we're raising it. So it's going down, so we're going to set down. We're raising it, so we're going to set that it's not down. Okay, and so then we can take this is down on this branch coming out of the finished, and we can set it, we can ask if it is down, and if it is, then we can delay for however long you guys want it to be delayed, or you can actually make this a variable. Let's go ahead and do that, promote the variable, and just call it like downtime or reset. Reset time, I think it's more understandable. And so you just make that a variable. I'm going to compile so we can go ahead and set a default. I think 5 seconds would be fine. And then you can expose that so that you can set that per target if you wanted to. And then we'll just call reset target. Raise target, sorry, not reset. There we go. I can't read. It's fun. Okay, that should be good on hitting it, and we'll send the score to the player. Let's just do it on this one really quick. We're gonna, ooh, sorry, my PC's being a little funny today. I'm gonna shoot that anyways. It didn't drop. It is giving us the score, which is cool, and that's probably because I never called the drop. So off of all of these, we're gonna call play drop or play target drop, and we'll just plug all of these guys. This is the event hits that we had. Plug all of those into that. I'll save. Sorry if the video's a little choppy today. I don't know what's going on with my PC. Might be time to go ahead and try and get a new one. Hit it, drops. Well, we'll wait 5 seconds, and it comes back up. Cool. Now if I hit the outer edge there, notice my score didn't go up at all. Should come back up any second now, and then we hit like somewhere on the side there, and it gave us 10 points. Now we may end up wanting to change the size of the ball. I can show you guys how to do that really fast. Easiest way to get to the ball: select this guy with the rifle, browse the asset. There's our ball, or bullet, however you want to call it. We can take our sphere, and we can just set the scale of our sphere. Right now it's at 0.1. We can set it to 0.05 by 0.05 by 0.05. And now we should have a much smaller bullet. It's a little bit more apt to hit the target where we're wanting to hit the target at. Cool. Now you notice also we were not getting score whenever it drops, and I'm sitting here shooting it. I am getting score. Ooh, we don't want that, right? We don't want to be able to get score when it's down. So instead of, go back to our target, instead of adding it onto all of these things, since we wrote this into a function, we can just quickly go into our update score, and we'll only update the score if we're not down. So we'll pull off of here and say not Boolean. There it is. We'll plug this in. I'm gonna put this up high so we can kind of move these lines around so it's a little easier to read. There we go. So basically, we'll only update the score if the target is not down. Which should work, meaning that as it's traveling down, we won't be able to get us any more score. And you notice I'm hitting it right on that bullseye, and no score is coming up. But as it's raising, we can actually hit it again and knock it right back down, which I kind of like that. So I'm gonna keep that. So as soon as it even starts to raise, we're able to knock it right back down if we want. All right. Now let's get those little floating numbers. So we hit, let's say we hit the bullseye, we will float at 100. If we hit this guy, we'll float at 25, so on and so forth. Okay. So inside of our blueprints folder, I'm going to right click, create a new blueprint class, actor. We'll just call this BP underscore target text. Open that up. We're going to add some render, text render. And here's a little thing that I like to do with text, especially when it's going to be in kind of an arcadey situation, or if I'm using it just to if I really need to see it, I need to make sure that it's like emissive or something like that. In order to do that, what we can do, go to our element 0 here. We're going to hit the spyglass. We're going to find this inside of our engine materials. And I'm going to scroll up so I can see my materials here. I'm just going to drag this over, and be very careful about this, but drag it in and copy it. Don't move it, but copy it there. The materials, here's our text. I'm going to rename it emissive text. And then I can just go over here, find that emissive text. There it is. Open that up. And so really all we need to do is take our vertex color, and we can just plug it into emissive. And then we can actually unplug it from base color, select this guy, and we'll just go ahead and set it to unlit, because we don't need base color, we don't need all that other stuff, so we don't even need that opacity. I don't know why it's even plugged in there. There we go. We got ourselves nice emissive text that we can change the color to. And if you guys really wanted to, if you needed like really glowy emissive text, you can add a multiplier here and then just punch in a number. You know, we might go ahead and do that. We'll do like 5, and it'll be really, really glowy, pretty text. All right, I'm going to come back over to our target text, and with the text selected, I'm just going to type in a number like 100 so we can kind of get an idea what this is going to be like. We're going to set the horizontal alignment to center, the vertical alignment to center, and that's all we need to do there. So in our construction script, I'm going to set our text. So I grab the text renderer, and we're going to set the text to a value. So I'm going to right click, promote to value, and this is going to be our text, or let's call it score text, so that it's a little bit easier to understand. I'm going to, over here, instance editable, select that and explode on spawn, select that, grab our text render again. I'm going to set the text renderer color. I feel like that's wrong. Yeah, text render color, never mind, that is correct. I'm going to come off of this. I'm going to say make color. Oh, no. I think I want linear. So I'm gonna do 2 linear color. I'm gonna right click on this and promote it to a variable, just so it's a little bit easier to find. I'm gonna rename that color. Try to explain why we do it like that. It's just basically it's a much easier thing to set in the other instead of our target, because instead of having here, let's do it. I'm gonna go ahead and don't necessarily follow me on this one. I'm gonna go ahead and promote this to another variable, and this will be our test color, just so I can show you guys what this will do. I'm just move that out of the way, plug in my color back into it. And so on my test color, instance editable, or both color and test color, I'm gonna select instance editable and expose on spawn. Or like I said, you guys don't have to follow along on the test color part. I just want to be able to show you guys. So let's go to target. And whenever we are wanting to spawn this text target, we should be able to get these. I'll go ahead to the default on this. So white and blonde. There we go. Sorry. But we should be able to go ahead and get our color, and our score text should pop up as soon as we say that we want to spawn it. So that's where you want to make sure you have the exposed on spawn and the instance editable. So jump back over the target. We're going to spawn actor from class, and we need a class, so that'll be our text target. That's not correct. Sorry, I bumped the microphone. Target text. Click on that, and see now we have our score color, our score text, and our color, and our text color. So now you'll notice right here, I can just set this straight up, give me a nice little color picker. But for this, I can't do that, right? I can say make literal color, and so I can type in the numbers, all that good stuff. So just a little bit less user friendly for us. It just feels like it's easier to do it this way. So I want to take our score text will be coming from our integer value. The color we will set right here, so drag it over and you'll get a nice little check mark. And then even our spawn transform, whoops, did not want to make that into a variable. I'm going to split this, and we're just going to get the location of it and plug that in. So now we have our spawn location. Now, instead of having all these lines going everywhere, what we can actually do, I can delete that. I can say, since we're inside of the function, I can say get spawn transform. And so basically, if you have it over here, you can make a kind of a local variable out of it. It's not really a local variable, but it basically is. And then I can even close that one and say get color, and you just want to make sure that you scroll down until you find the variables get color. Plug that into our color, and there we go. I am going to go back over to our target, and I'm going to remove this test color, delete. Let's delete it from here, and then we can delete it. File save, and then go make sure that whenever you're taking something that was exposed and you delete it, you go back to wherever you have a spawn for it and make sure that's okay. Make sure to go ahead and compile that. Sometimes you'll get an error here saying that something's not right. If you do, there's a nice way of just right clicking on it and say refresh node, and that should usually work. If that doesn't work, compile and then refresh the node, if the compile doesn't refresh the node for you. All right, I am going to set this to always spawn ignore collisions, and we should be good. Oh, one more thing. We need to actually make the floating text kind of float, and we need to make it like raise up into the air and everything. I am going to kind of go off my notes on this one because this takes some playing around for me to really get it going. I'm going to do it off of tick just to keep it simple, but you could make a custom event and run it on a timer if you wanted to. Speaking of timer, I'm going to really quick over here, click on self. We're going to give the lifetime, and we're going to set the lifespan to something like 3 seconds. I think it'll be fine. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. And now I want to take our text renderer, pull this in. We're going to add a world offset. So basically what this is going to do is it's going to take its current position in the world, and it's going to add something to the location. So like, let's say we add something to Z, it's going to raise it up. So every frame, we're going to raise this up by a certain amount. We're also going to make it kind of go left and right a little bit. I really should have used like sign and everything for this sign and time for this, but you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm actually just going to make this kind of just raise up because this video is getting a little bit long. So we're not going to get into that. I'm going to kind of cut out a little bit of the stuff. If you guys want a video on how to make this look a little bit cooler, let me know. For right now, it's just going to kind of raise up and then disappear. That's what we'll go with. So I'm just going to add a 0.35 on the Z so that it raises up nice and slow. And yeah, actually I can kind of skip all my other notes on that because I don't want this video to get too long on just making a floating thing. Okay, let's jump back over to our target. Update score, we're spawning it. And I think that's it. Let's try this out real quick. Again, I'm having some choppy stuff for right now. I don't know what's going on with my PC. I did not see anything come out of there. Oh, we're spawning it probably at 000 because I didn't set up anything. What we can do, instead of doing it like that, let me do this really quick. Show it to my notes. I think this is how I did it in mine. We're going to add we're going to add a hit result here. So just call this hit and get the hit results. Pretty sure that's how I did it. And we're going to pull off this hit result. We're going to break it. And then we're going to get our impact point, and that will be our location. One thing you can do with this is you get this little arrow and it'll kind of compact it down a little bit, and there you go. Okay, so we go back to our event graph, and now we got to make a little bit of room because these guys are on top of each other now. So I'm just gonna slowly lower them down a little bit. There we go. And we can just take that hit result from each one of these and we can just plug it in straight across. Okay. The next thing we want to do is make sure that we're plugging in the color. So the color for this one is like a white. The color for the middle ring, we look at that, was a blue. Blue really quick. The inner ring is green. And the bullseye was red. Green out. And so those all should be set up. So now we should get our numbers spawning nice and pretty. Let's see. And it's backwards. Should have seen that one coming. Okay. Easy fix for that. We could either have it where it always like looks at the player by finding the look at rotation, or we just turn it around 180 degrees. There you go. I think that's simpler and works just the same. So yeah, we hit it right there. It is a little too bright with that emissive. We're probably gonna lower that emissive, but that's gonna be up to what you guys think on it. So yeah, now we can quickly grab this guy and let's put some up here, and then we gotta just quickly make the moving version of this where it will press end, and that should drop to the table. And I'm gonna put these kind of where they're in between the other ones, like that. And then you can just take another one, and this will actually become our moving one. So I'm gonna hit delete on that. And just so we can quickly and easily, like if you're a designer, you want to be able to just grab stuff and throw it out there, right? So I'm going to right click on this. I'm going to create a child. So it's going to basically inherit all the information from target, but now this will be our BP underscore moving target. And so in here, we don't have to add any of that information that we already had. What we can do is, one, we can go over here to our multiplier and we can set it, it's times 2 multiplier, right? Because this is going to be our moving, or you can even do like, I guess I could have done like a float for that, but yeah, if you guys want to go like 0.15 or something stuff like that, you'll have to convert it to a float instead. But I'm gonna delete all that, delete that. Okay, so on begin play, we are going to want to move our target left and right or up and down, and the easiest way to be able to make it do that is, one, we want to get the location of the object that we're going to be moving, which will be the outer ring. So we'll get the relative, because we're going to be moving it in our relative space, relative to the actor itself. So get the relative location. We're going to promote this to starting location. Okay. And then we need to make something that can represent where we want it to go. So if I go back to the viewport here, I can, right here in the select self, and then go add. We can grab a billboard. And I'm just going to leave it right there at the root for right now. And I'm going to click on that billboard, rename it end location. And what we can do is also grab our end location and get, actually I just copied the relative location from over here, plug it in, right click on it, promote, and this will be our actually, you know what, instead of calling this end location, I'm going to call this the end point, so that we can keep both of these called location. So this one, rename it end location. Okay. Yeah, we should be good. All right, and I'm going to make a custom event, and this will just be called move target. I want to call that at the end of our begin play, so just move target. Once we get all these variables set up, that's what we'll do. Move it, and then I'm going to make a boolean, and we'll call this is forward, and with that we're going to do a get. We're going to get a branch by holding B and left clicking. Then we are, if we are already going forward, then we want to set that we're no longer going forward. This is basically like getting ready for the next thing. I know that's probably kind of confusing. It's like, hey, if you're going forward, then you are going forward. Why are you saying it's false? It's getting ready for it to go through this branch again. That's the idea. I'm gonna copy paste this, and then so if we're not going forward, then we want to set that we are going to be going forward after this, and then we're going to do a timeline. So we're going to add timeline, and this will just be our move underscore TL, and that'll go through reverse. Okay, let's go ahead and double click on this. We're going to set this to 1. Our length, we're going to add a float. We're going to call this alpha. Right click, times 0 value to 0. Right click, add another key. Set the time to 1, value to 1. I'll save. Back to the event graph. I know I'm probably going really, really fast, and you guys are probably screaming at your screen saying, slow down. I know that's how I always did it, but if I want to keep these videos short, this is going to have to do it. And just hit pause, come back around to it, guys. I've been getting some complaints lately about you go too fast. Yeah, sorry, I kind of have to. All right, so now we want to take our outer ring here. We're going to set the relative location. Oops. And the relative location is going to be set by we're basically going to interpolate between the starting location and the end location. It's just going to go back and forth, and that could be an up and down thing. That could be something that comes forward and back to you. It can go left and right, however you guys want to do it. This will set that up for you. So I'm going to pull off of here, and we're going to say lerp, and it should give us the option for lerp vector. That's what we want. We're going to plug our alpha into the alpha. We're going to take our starting location, put that into A. We're going to take our end location, put that into B. And that, honestly, should be decently it. And then whenever we're finished, we're just going to call move target. So it will just indefinitely move the target. If you want to have it stop, like let's say it's moving from, let's say it starts here and it moves here, and you want to stop as soon as it gets here for like a second and then move back, and then stop for a second and then move back, then what you can do is add a delay between the finished and the move target here. I don't want it to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But if you want it, there it is. Let me check my notes. I think that is it. So let's show you guys how to set one of these guys up that we just created. Grab a moving target, put it here, and you want to start it wherever you want it to start at, right? And then you're going to come over here to the details panel, and we're going to find our endpoint. You notice that we can move that right to the right. Okay, and so now if I hit simulate, well, it goes back and forth. Now that is really fast. So let's fix that. Just like I was saying earlier, we can take our move TL. We can say pull off that, say set play rate. Plug it in right here. Give it a little space. And you know what? Let's go ahead and make this a variable. And we'll just call it move rate. I'm going to compile it so I can give it a default. And honestly, off of what I was seeing, I think maybe about 0.25 would be a good speed. We can make this instance editable so that if you're like, hey, I want this one back here to be really, really fast, you can do that. I think I explained it wrong earlier too, because 0.25, yeah, it goes at a quarter of its speed. So this doesn't make it faster, it makes it slower. Let me verify that. Yes, makes it slower. So I think earlier I explained it wrong and said that it's a fraction and makes it go, you know, like it takes a quarter of its speed, I think is what I said. So yeah, I don't know what I was saying. Anyways, it just hit me. Yeah, that's the better way of doing it. So now let's say we want some that go up and down. What I can do is I'm going to copy this one, so I'll just hold Alt and drag it out, and you notice that the thing stayed over there. What I'm going to do is click on the endpoint, click this arrow, it'll come back to where we are. I can click off, click back on to get the actual blueprint. Let's say we want this guy to start right here, and we have another one that starts right here, and another one that starts right here. And I'm actually going to raise this one up a little bit, and these two will stay down here. I'm going to click on both of these, and I guess I can't do that, never mind. I'm gonna click on this one, grab its endpoint, and I'm gonna set it to like 500 above, and this one to about, click its endpoint, set its location on the Z to 500 above. This one, we can set it to like 0. Whoops, that's the actual actor Z, my bad. Anyway, we can line this up with these anyway, so they kind of meet right there. And then we want to click our endpoint, set the Z to like negative 500. There we go. Save. And so now these guys are set up where this one should raise up to that. Same thing. This one will lower. This one will go left and right. And we have ourselves a nice little shooting range. Shoot at that guy. Now, if you don't want the ball to be able to bounce, I can show you guys how to do that. If you're not wanting to see that, then go ahead and click off the video, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Patreon's in the description, channel member, join button, all the things that YouTubers are supposed to say. Do those things. But if you want to see how to make the ball not bounce, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and right click on our rifle here, browse the asset. Here's our first person projectile. We're gonna open it up. We'll click on the projectile movement here, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look for should bounce. We're gonna turn that off, and because of that, what's gonna happen now if we just do it like that, I think it's gonna stick kind of to it, or stick to that location that it hits. See how it stops there at that location that it hits. We don't really want that. So what I'm gonna do is, as soon as we hit, see right here, it's looking to see if whatever we hit is simulating physics. Since we're not simulating physics at all, we're gonna go through the branch. We're actually gonna be going through the false on this. We'll pull off of that, and what we're gonna do is just say destroy actor. So as soon as it hits, it just destroys. Doesn't matter what it hits. If it hits it, unless it simulates physics, and if it, then yeah, it does something different. But yeah, anything we hit, it'll just destroy on impact. There we go. Dude, I got 200 in all those. Oh, good. All right, now you just create yourself your own aim trainer. You can go play Call of Duty or Rust or something and kill everybody because you spent hours in your own aim trainer. There you go. Look at that, I got a score of 2,000. Like I said, if you guys want to see any variations to this or any additions to it, please leave them in the comments below and I'll take a look at it. I'll figure out which ones I can do because it might be outside my wheelhouse, who knows. But if I have the time and something I can do, I'll definitely make another video on it because I'm always needing more video ideas. If there's something else that you guys want to see, please comments below, join the Discord, that'll be in the description below, and yeah, we'll get going. We'll do stuff. It'll be great. All right, see you guys next time.